Welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included, everybody. I know in the last episode I said I was going to work on the second colony this episode, but I have decided I am having some more pressing issues that I'm going to work on today, and we'll get to that on the next episode or down the road. The petroleum that's building up here is super hot, so this entire area is getting really heated. And so what I want to do is I want to shift where the petroleum is being stored, because we are not making petroleum up here as much as we were. I'm going to change up this whole system of bringing oil into the petroleum boiler down here to get things working slightly different than I have them, and then I'm going to get it so that the petroleum is being stored somewhere where I can cool it a little better, or at least keep the heat away from the colony, because I'm starting to have overheat issues in here, and it's because the heat from here is rising up, passing through the oil to get in here and heating everything up. And my coolant's just not enough to cool it down. So, first thing I'm going to do is change up the way the petroleum is stored. I was going to have it all down here at the bottom of the map. I think I'm going to do storage up here at the top so that I can kind of contain the heat and then work on cooling it down. So that's going to take a little while to build a new tank to store it and shift some things around, and then we'll get the petroleum moving where I want it to, and then after that we're going to work on handling our oil a little better, and we'll go from there. So I will be back once I get the tank set up and have some new piping worked out for this system. Before I get started with reworking the plumbing for my base, I decided to redesign the interior of the rocket so that I can send Demon up to do some data bank creation while I'm working on it. So, changes that I made is that I turned this into just a barracks instead of a bedroom, just to conserve some space. This will turn into a barracks as soon as this tile is placed. Right now, the industrial machinery is in the way, and the cot isn't counting because it's not on the flat ground. But as soon as this gets placed, it'll turn into a barracks, right like that. And then we got our washroom, which gives us 2 morale, so that's 3 morale there. And then we have our mess hall. So this room is 30 tiles. If I wanted to make it into a great hall, I'd have to get 2 more tiles out of it. I could get 1 here, but no, I couldn't do that because that'll move that down. I think I could remove this oxyburn because that's not gonna work anyway. But I don't know that I can get another square. I don't think making it the Great Hall is that important, but this room has to be 12, so that one is set. This room has 2 extra spaces, but I don't see anywhere I can shift anything over. Not without taking out the pump, which I wanted to have one so I can clear out the carbon dioxide. I was trying to get this oxyburn plant to work in here so that I could at least have some of the carbon dioxide turned back into oxygen while we were in space. Don't think that's going to work though, because the temperature in here is too high. And until I can get my temperatures under control in my base, the air I'm putting in here is going to be too hot. But I'm going to leave it there for now because I think that we're going to stick with that. Mess hall is fine. So the other thing we did is I set up production of rad pills, so they're getting stocked. Right now I have dirt and algae stocked. Algae for the oxygen diffuser, dirt for the oxyfern, but I don't think the oxyfern's going to work, like I said. So we'll leave it there for now, see what happens when we get to space, but storage unavailable water? That's not right. Oh, I guess I don't have a or a bottle emptier down here. Must have removed it, never put it back. Let's put it right here. Put a tile under it. But so yeah, the basic rad pills will make it so Demon can stay in space for a long period of time because we have for each one of those he loses 100 rads per cycle. He loses 60 rads per cycle when he uses the bathroom, and so he'll be able to stay out in space as long as we need him to get stuff done. Basically, we right now we have stocked up enough to do 46 days uh, of him in space. He's got plenty of food. I added in a liquid reservoir to make sure we always had enough water to run the toilets, and I was thinking that we would use that to run the oxyfern, but like I said, I don't think that's gonna do it, at least on this trip. I may be able to in the future once I get the temperature in here under control a little better. Maybe the temperature will go down when we're in space. I don't know. So, let me go back to here, get this done so we can pull that water out of the space shuttle, and then we'll launch that and get that working while we work on the rest of the base. Sure, taking your time building my stuff. Come on, get done. I got things to do. Where's my duplicates? Toby's gonna save the day. So you can see down here where we have the apothecary. I said if we want people with basic doctoring skills so that we can always have the rad pills being manufactured. And I made it so nobody can take them at the moment. That way we're not wasting them as they're getting made. I want to stock up the rocket as much as I possibly can. So that's good. Let's go back into our rocket. Now somebody can come get this water, which is great. Everything else is set. That's a lot of water. Oh, that's great, because I had it in a liquid reservoir that I broke when I moved in. And so it was all the water that was in it. But with the 5,000 kilograms of water that we have stored in here, that's connected up to our bathroom, we'll be able to stay in space forever. Radiation is going to be the limiter now, because we only have enough, like I said, enough rad pills to last for 50 days. And I'm going to just let this go. Let's get now we have 50 days ready to go, which means I can launch this rocket and get some data banks being made. So we'll keep an eye on it while we are doing our work, and then bring Demon home when... do I not have steam in here? Okay, I'm going to have to get that working. So I'm going to get the steam powered up, and I'll get this rocket ready to launch, and then we'll get Demon launched into space, and doing that while we work on our piping. Be back once I have some more progress. Okay. Took me 5 extra cycles, but I got the steam in our rocket all powered up, and the inside of our rocket is all ready to go. I got 91 units, rad pills. I got all the other stuff I need to go do a bunch of data banks. So we're gonna go to our rocket and we're gonna screw it up. It means everybody will leave except for Demon, who will get inside. It'll take a minute. Demon might be on his downtime. There he goes. Alright, launch checklist is ready to go. Launch. maybe the last time we launch a steam rocket, because I'm going to start assembling a petroleum rocket. So first things first, when we get up here, I want him to unequip his suit. And now, the big question is, he's absorbing rads, but so once a day he's going to go to the toilet and take a rad pill. I want to keep an eye on his rads to see how high they get. They should stay well below where I need them to, at least to get through like 100 cycles worth of manufacturing up here. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll come back and check on it. We already have 4 data banks, so it goes pretty quick, but I need about 1,000 more before we're done. So I don't know if we're going to have them up here long enough to get that finished, but we're going to try it. So now the big thing we're going to work on for the rest of this base is I'm going to install the big petroleum tank up here in the corner, and I'm going to seal it off completely. So I'm going to make a double airlock. I'm actually probably just going to use this double airlock because I'm removing the steam turbine area. And I'm going to have it be pretty big, and I'm going to start pumping all the petroleum from the map in. I have the petroleum from over here, I have petroleum down here, and I even have petroleum in here that was because I had a bottle emptier emptying petroleum to get pumped into the plastic press, and I forgot about it. And so it filled it all up. So that's getting emptied into here for the moment. But all of this petroleum is going to get moved up into here. I'm not going to try to cool it off. I'm just going to seal it up inside of an insulated room and make it so that the heat doesn't come out. And that's my next project. So I'm going to work on getting all that built, getting everything set up with the pumps, get the pumps set up to pull that petroleum over to the petroleum generators, and we'll go from there. So I'll be back once I have some of that progress finished. Checking in with Demon to see how things are going. It's been 5 cycles since he was launched into space to do his databank stuff. So far he's made us 114 databanks. His radiation is staying pretty low, never going above about 150, 160. And then at the end of every day when he uses the bathroom and then takes his rad pill, it goes back to 0 to start the next day. So doing great. He can stay up here for a good long time. I have enough water for his toilet to work for a very, very long time. I have enough oxygen. He's barely used any of the algae yet. 0.2 already. That's it. And he's got 140,000 calories of food in here. So we'll keep him up here till we get to around 1,000 data banks, which is what I need for finishing the research. As far as our build down here for the petroleum tank, I made a very big room here. It's the entire top left corner of the map. I ran pipes up for petroleum to get dropped off. That piping is going down here to the petroleum boiler at the bottom. So we're going to set up pumps to pump all this petroleum back up to this storage tank, and we'll set the pumps to pump the petroleum into our generators. So we're going to collect everything together. I have this petroleum that I accidentally put in here with the bottle emptier getting dropped off into here, so we'll just have one source to drop it to pump it off. I also cut off the oil flow up to the storage up at the other boiler. So this has a backlog from what I pumped up there, and we're going to finish turning all that into petroleum up here. But after that's done, including the oil that's in here, I'm building a pump to pump that through. Once that's all done, the only oil that will get pumped through this boiler is going to be the oil that comes from the slickster farm. Eventually I'm probably going to direct that down to the boiler at the bottom as well. I'm going to repurpose this volcano to be used for something else, or maybe just seal it up so that I don't have the heat up here. I'm not sure yet, but we're slowly migrating everything to just use the double boiler. This double boiler can handle 20 kilograms of oil per second. we're only producing 10 down here, so it's going to be fine, even if we have the extra oil from the slicksters. I probably at some point will move that power plant down here, like I was originally talking about, but it won't be for a while, or it might be. It might not even happen in this series once, because we're getting close to finishing all of our achievements. And I'll probably, once I'm done, come back to revisit this map, but take a break from it. I have some other projects I'd like to work on coming up. So I'm gonna let this finish doing its thing and get this tank built, and then rerun all the piping so that we can start getting petroleum put in here. And I'll come back once that's done, and once we have the research or the data banks done, so we can start our final push to get all the research done for that achievement. So I'll be back once that's all set up. I'm just back checking on Demon, and I did notice a couple things. One is that while he's doing fine, and I'm sure he would make it through all 100 cycles I need for him to finish making all the items that we need, he's constantly holding his breath down here. And it's because he's exhaling carbon dioxide, and there's nowhere for it to go because it's too hot in here for the oxyburn to work. And so the carbon dioxide's building up. So I think when I build the next rocket, I'm going to need to do slight change so that the data bank lab, or wherever the duplicant's going to be doing his work, is up higher, and make it so that like the control station and bathrooms, the stuff he goes to just occasionally, is down at the bottom. That way when the carbon dioxide builds up, it's just something he runs in temporarily, and then he goes up to the other areas of the rocket when he is where he's in plenty of oxygen. I think he'll be fine to make it through. He has plenty of air in here. It's just going to slow him down a little bit, but it is definitely something I've been noticing that I'm going to have to work on. Oops. So we have our tank almost finished, just a few more pieces to finish. But what I wanted to show you is that I'm using the old, that's pretty loud, sorry about that. I'm using the old oil lines here. I cleaned them up a little bit. This is where the oil used to get run through to go over to the oil tank that goes into the petroleum burner up here. I have repurposed them for my petroleum lines here. So they're running across, and then I set up these. I keep forgetting that when I'm on the liquid pipe screen, if I'm zoomed in, it's really loud for you guys, so I hope it's not too bad. I set up some priority filters here, so the petroleum coming up from the petroleum filter down here that we have is going to get used up first, and then these lines feed in as secondary, and so then they'll supply it. So basically we're going to use up this petroleum first, and then we will use the petroleum that I'm going to be putting into this tank up here. That way this can start to fill up, we can empty this out, and then we'll change up all of our lines so that we're pulling all the petroleum from over here, including the petroleum going over to organic and the petroleum going down for plastics, stuff like that. So it's slowly getting there. It's a long process, but the tank is getting emptied out, and then eventually this will all be emptied out too, and we'll be ready to close this up here so that we can start working on getting this cooled down. The main priority of doing all this is that I want to have all the petroleum in one section that's nice and closed off, and I'm putting it up here because I'm going to be using it for rockets and stuff like that. And then we can control that heat, just keep it up here, and then I can start cooling off the entire base. That's what I want to do. So it's going to be a long process of getting everything moved around to where I need it to be, but we will get that done. And we will get all this research done too, the data banks. But we're getting pretty close to 25 minutes on this episode, so I think I'm going to call it right here, and then when we start the next episode, I'll have all those things finished, and we can just do the research and get that achievement, and then next episode we'll take a look at what achievements we have left and come up with a plan on what we need to do to get them finished, and what other things we want to get finished before we call this series done. So if you're watching this and you have anything you think you'd like to see me finish before we get the series done, leave me a comment and give me some feedback so I know what you guys want to do. I am planning on keeping this map so that I will revisit it again later, but like I said before, I have a couple other projects I want to do, and games I want to play, and there's some modded Oxygen Not Included I wanted to try out. So we will circle back around to it after this series is done, but I'm thinking we'll probably have 5 to 10 more episodes before we finish all the achievements and this series is finished. So leave me some feedback. Comments are great. Like the video and subscribe. Definitely helps out. And I will see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.